The field of GOP candidates wanting to be the next Texas Attorney General is getting larger. Yesterday, former Texas Supreme Court Justice Eva Guzman announced that she is challenging Paxton in the March 2022 primary. Guzman is a longtime judge who became the first Latina to join the Texas Supreme Court in 2009. And current Land Commissioner George P. Bush is also running for the job. Here to talk about this is Travis County GOP Executive Director Brian Ruddle and Democratic consultant Joe Deshotel. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Joe, Guzman says that her 22 years on the bench sets her apart from Paxton and Bush. Will GOP voters go with experience over name recognition?
Well, honestly, it's hard to say. I really think that she is obviously the only person in the GOP primary who's even qualified to hold this position. Frankly, I think she can't really compete with the level of incompetence we've seen from Paxton, who spent most of his time trying to overturn the election. So his experience obviously includes waiting for his own day in court. 6 years he's been under indictment for securities fraud. His top lawyers at his department have walked out on the job, and now he's under investigation by the FBI. So you would think that that would be something that voters would actually look at, although this is, as mentioned, the silly season of politics, and we've seen nothing but political theater. So I would expect that she's the one I would look out for if competence and experience were really what mattered here. But you mentioned name experience, and you have George P. Bush, who's really only known at this point for quote unquote reimagining the Alamo and failing to give any money to Harris County and the city of Houston for Harvey relief funds. And he was rebuked in a bipartisan way by Republicans and Democrats in the state's largest county. So it's going to be tough.
Okay. And Joe, talking about that, a hard-fought GOP primary, is that going to help the Democratic candidate?
Well, yeah, I do think it depends on who comes out on top. I mean, we could look at 2018 when Paxton, only won his race by barely 3% points. And so, that's something that happened right after he was indicted. And I think, he still had somewhat of the benefit of the doubt. So I do think that what we are seeing, Republicans are very concerned about the gains that Democrats are making in the state of Texas, which is obviously why we've seen the type of voter suppression efforts. And so I do think that we have great candidates that are going to be aligning for this particular role. Joe Jaworski, former mayor of the city of Galveston. Lee Merritt I think he's going to announce he's a civil rights attorney from Dallas. And so I do think Republicans should be concerned, but I think Democrats are going to spend their time organizing and getting their voters out.
Okay, it's going to be interesting now. Joe, Brian, thank you both very much for talking with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.